I think things are about to get really, really excellent. Now, I know that's not what a lot of people, headlines, and world events are saying about, well, whenever about you're watching this video.
Somali-owned daycares alleging fraud.
Nationwide protests in Iran and the widespread internet blackout.
Greenland, it is not for sale.
But I've been picking up a vibe shift from Gen Z and even a few millennials still clinging onto their fertility that I think could usher in a whole new renaissance in the 2030s. And it's being built on the same 3 cultural shifts that made the last renaissance 600 years ago. But first, I want you to pay close attention to this clip of Timothée Chalamet from this year's SAG Awards and pay very close attention to how he phrases himself.
I know the classiest thing would be to downplay the effort that went into this role and how much this means to me. And I know we're in a subjective business, but the truth is, I'm really in pursuit of greatness. I know people don't usually talk like that, but I want to be one of the greats.
Did you notice what he did there? He acknowledges this script that we're all supposed to follow. Be humble, downplay it, act like you're not even trying. And then he tells us how he really feels. The reaction to all of this was kind of mixed between calling him cringe and applauding him. But what you might have missed is a clue from the dawn of the Renaissance era. See, in the medieval era, ambition was literally a sin. Medieval craftsmen didn't even sign their work. The peasant class used to work these repetitive, replaceable jobs in service of a church, a king, or in today's era, an Amazon. All those cathedrals that you see across Europe, or for the sake of this analogy, Vancouver, built by anonymous hands. Imagine spending 40 years carving out the Notre Dame and your credit is just some guy. But in 1341, the vibe shifts. A guy named Petrarch gets invited to be crowned poet laureate by the University of Paris and the Roman Senate. He's all set to go to Paris to accept his award at a closed ceremony. But at the last minute, he says, "F it, let's do it in Rome on the Capitoline Hill." Why there? Because that's where Roman generals went after conquering entire nations. Augustus Caesar went there after defeating Cleopatra and bringing back so much gold that he crashed Rome's interest rates by 50% overnight. He basically invented quantitative easing through war crimes. Petrarch, who had conquered nothing, killed no one, and just wrote some banger-ass poetry, went to that same hill and proclaimed, "I want to be one of the greats too." 20 years later, and artists are signing everything. Michelangelo carves his name into the Pieta. Benvenuto Cellini writes a 500-page autobiography basically calling himself a genius. And look, this does not give you permission to go around acting like an arrogant prick, but we've spent the last few decades conflating ambition with ego. We throw around these words like try hard and cringe at anyone who gives a shit about what they're doing. It's getting old. And weirdly enough, I actually think it's AI that might kill this. AI has made humiliation so cheap and abundant that it stopped mattering. You can deepfake anyone into anything now. Politicians in bikinis, celebrities saying shit that they've never said before. And the data backs this up. The word cringe has been used less today than any other time online in the last 4 years. When anyone can be humiliated at scale with zero effort, that fear of announcing your ambition to the world kind of disappears. The 2030s aren't going to go to the ones hiding behind 7 layers of irony. It's going to go to the ones that announce their pursuit of greatness anyways. And that might be the most Renaissance thing that we've done in 600 years. Proclaiming your ambition is only the first step. The second step is tearing down the systems that kept you quiet in the first place. This one might get a little controversial.
But do you want to talk seriously about the Holocaust?
Yeah, I do actually. I do, because I just find it extraordinary that you would think the Holocaust could ever be something that we could joke about.
Why, too soon? Is it too soon to make jokes?
The rest of the video is just Pierce Morgan putting together an NBA highlight reel of every controversial thing that Nick Fuentes has ever said, and him just nodding along with it. 17 countries right now will jail you for any public Holocaust denial or doubting. You know who also jailed you for denying or doubting history? Hitler. Now, I'm not a Holocaust denier or a flat earther or a flatten the curber, but the thing about sacred cows is they're not actually sacred. They're just cows that we've agreed not to eat until someone does. That's iconoclasm. Everybody questioning everything. Both sides. The left wing's tearing down statues, the right wing's tearing down anything woke, me using Bitcoin because I'm tired of pedophiles and central bankers controlling our money supply. It's messy, but it's the beginning of a cycle. 1450, the Catholic Church has a monopoly on the truth. Want a Bible? You gotta pay a scribe with a inverse broccoli cut to hand copy it for you. The Catholic Church controlled what you said, what you were allowed to read, and what you were allowed to think. Then a dude named Gutenberg shows up and invents the printing press. Chaos. Pamphlets, rumors, heresy flood the streets. Another dude named Martin Luther uses it to print out a whole bunch of complaints against the church, floods them across Europe, and splits Western Christianity in half. So you're mad at Sam Altman and Elon Musk for all that AI slop? 8 million people died in the Protestant Reformation, which started because of a printer. But then you got the scientific revolution, the Enlightenment. New tools and institutions developed organically to separate truth from lies. Iconoclasm breaks the old system, chaos follows, but then order. The truth is really hard to find these days. Everybody's got an agenda, every institution's been caught lying, but there's a hidden benefit to this, and that is that the chaos is training us. You can't just trust a headline anymore. You have to think critically and examine things through first principles. By the 2030s, I think that we're gonna be all a lot better at separating the noise from the signal. But the smart Gen Z'ers are already mastering these tools to discover the truth, while some of the rest of us are still debating whether or not they should be allowed to exist. Speaking of tools, I wanna share one with you that you might have already noticed used in this video. Higgsfield.ai. It's a website that gives you access to every top photo and video generation model on the planet right now. We're talking perfect 4K upscaling, image generation from scratch, changing the angles or even shot size of any video, motion graphics, or even adding objects to your shot. This one is real, but this one isn't. Any idea that you've ever come up with, you can create it with Higgsfield. It's as essential as Adobe Photoshop or even CapCut at this point, maybe even more so. We only have 4 days to edit our weekly videos, and in the past, we were quoted thousands of dollars to do the visual effects. With Higgsfield, we can do all this stuff in minutes, and it only costs $30 a month. So if you're curious about leveling up your visuals this year and you want to try some really cool and creative stuff, definitely go check them out. And with this code, you can get 50% off any of the plans. Thank you, Higgsfield, for sponsoring this video. Lastly, the Renaissance was a lot more than being ambitious and accidentally starting a few wars. It was about making things and places beautiful again. 1434 Florence, a guy named Cosimo de' Medici rises to power, kicks out this scourge of corrupt families and criminals running the city. The Albacci, the Strozzi, the Salvatori, the Gabagool.
All this from a slice of gabagool.
That one I made up. But then he goes on a campaign across Europe to make Florence the finance capital. And once the wealth starts to flow in, he commissions and goes on this massive, massive building spree. Commissions these artists like Donatello, Brunelleschi, Fra Angelico to fill Florence with public art, plazas, and monuments to the gods. 2019, El Salvador, Nayib Bukele takes a page out of the same playbook, cleans up this scourge of gangs terrorizing the country, takes it from the least safe country in the world to a country safer than Canada or Sweden, becomes the first place to make Bitcoin a legal tender. And when the money starts flowing in, he also goes on a building spree, just like Medici. Starts and creates a surf district that covers a quarter of the country in less than a year. Builds a 24/7 public library and market in downtown El Salvador, a place that was a gang haven just a mere 6 years ago, with a mindset that I'd give my left nuts to hear an American or a Canadian politician ever say.
Es que lo público debe ser mejor que lo privado.
El Salvador is trying to be a modern-day Florence. They've even got a Bitcoin office. Does your country have a Bitcoin office? No. Instead, you've got Jerome Powell looking like he's in a hostage video. Anyways, if you want to see what a country looks like when they actually prioritize these things, El Salvador and the Bitcoin office share everything that they do on X and Instagram. You really should go check them out. But ultimately, here's why this matters to you. Gen Z is demanding the same thing. They're called third spaces. Your first space is your home. Your second space is your work. The third space is everything in between. The bar, the plaza, the guild hall, places that people go to just exist, but to also be inspired. For most of human history, this is where civilization happened. Greek agoras, Florentine piazzas, Parisian cafes. Then the internet convinced us that we didn't need them anymore. Why go to a cafe when you can just have a group chat? COVID really sealed the deal. We turned our apartments into sanctuaries. We made Zoom our second space. We made Instagram and TikTok our third. Zuckerberg tried to make it permanent with the metaverse. Really glad we didn't fall for that one. But the good news is Gen Z is starting to reject all of that. They're buying journals, vinyls, flip phone sales for 18 to 24-year-olds up 148% in 3 years. In fact, they're the only generation that is actively decreasing their time spent on social media right now. It's one of the reasons why I try and shoot this show outside, even though it's 6 degrees out right now. When we start to ditch our digital prisons as our third spaces, we naturally start insisting on better physical spaces. The last few generations got away with some egregiously bad public art and uninspired architecture. I think that changes when we stop looking down and we start looking up more. Fix your posture, by the way. You are way too hunched over while you're watching this. Whether our politicians figure it out or not, Gen Z is voting with their words, their feet, and their wallets. Our world can sometimes feel like it is drowning in cynicism or changing with reckless abandon. But we've been here before, and the kids are all right. Just give us some time.